Well, Christmas. We don't do big on Christmas. My son got me this. It wasn't going to turn up in time. He got a message. Oh, and then Christmas Eve day, it arrived. And as you can see, there's a little crack because it was in 2 bits. I've managed to fill in the chips at the top and bottom of the crack. It's like a resiny type stuff. Where it was broken, it looked a bit like a porcelain tile. Anyway, I used super glue and then let it set and built it up, and then used activator to harden it off, and then just keep building up the layers to fill in the broken bits. And I've just used a bit of acrylic paint, which I think they've used Humbrol gloss, so it just needs going over again. And then I'll put it on a piece of timber and then use the timber to screw it to the wall wherever it may live. Because I don't think, even though it's super glued, they're not particularly strong. I've got a Station Master one which is made out of cast aluminium, but they did send a replacement, so I'll have one for each side of the wall. Shame there's not a finger pointing the other way, really. But yeah, there was that, and that. I did have a similar one, which was basically in my head on brewing a beer. That's for the other hobby. Anyway, we have had a couple of bits turn up eBay sort of pre-Christmas, post-Christmas, with Royal Mail having extra days holidays. Oh, sorry, they were on strike. These I've been watching. I've got them on an alert. SL44s, they were discontinued by Pico. Obviously they never sold a lot, but they mimic the expansion joints that the rail network put in continuous welded rail, but they are a functional item. They do actually, or could be made to work. Whether they cover enough expansion and contraction, I don't know, but if I remember, I'll insert the picture still of assembled one. So they normally either sell fairly quickly at a premium or not. Now, the guy was asking $7.99 all in, postage inclusive sort of price. Didn't really want to pay that. I bought a few sets a couple of 3 years ago. When again I think we'd had a hot spell and some of the people bought them. I've not seen anyone posting on the forum saying they did or didn't work, or they were of any additional benefit, but they are a little feature item as well. So I offered him £5 and he came back with $6.50, so I thought, well, I'm not going to keep toing and froing before someone else pips me to the post. So I accepted at $6.50, postage including. So there's 2 in each pack, so I think I've got about 6 or 8 of them now. And I've done an order with Mr. Birchie, and we got some 3D printed elevator doors to fit into a side of a building to give you the impression there's an elevator shaft. I bought these light hoods, which you can pass a pre-wired 0402 SMD LED into them, because I've only seen like the Gauge Master ones, which are a bit of a wee take price, and they're no different from the ones you get on the little 4 floodlight type things from China. So I thought, well, these I think were about £5 postage, but he gave me £1 back postage on that one as well, or £1.06. So I only paid one lot of postage. And there are 12 or 15 shells in here. Obviously you need to paint them black to stop the light bleed, and then obviously a light grey or whatever they may be in your particular modelling requirement. and then you just a little dab of glue, pass the wires through, and you've got a wall lamp, which obviously sort of suits any period from the 60s, 70s onwards really. But they weren't too bad. And he always sends you a little print, colour print of various little signs you can cut out and use, which is quite handy for me because I don't possess a colour printer. And the only other thing that's turned up was a couple of coaches which were a wee bit of a disappointment. So I've been trying to pick these up at a reasonable price, which seems to be a bit of a hard job to do unless there's, you know, ones that are not quite as nice as others, shall we say. I have got a Lima one which oddly I need to get a set of bogies for because they're the wrong bogies on it, and I bought another Lima coach to transfer them and I bought the wrong one. But I got these. These are Dapol Mark II Ds, E's, F's, whatever they are. And I thought I'll pick this one up, and the bogies were like, I thought that's a bit odd, there's a bit too much play in them, there's something wrong there, and I looked at them and I thought they're chuffing Gresley bogies from a London North Eastern coach, totally the wrong period. I didn't say chuffing either. No mention of odds and sods on the brief description. Should have spotted it in the pictures, but it's not the thing you tend to sort of, you're looking for broken and missing bits, not wrong bits. And the other one, that's the correct one, which has the springs, and then you can see the brake piston. And that one is also incorrect because that's from a Mark III. So I've got to somehow try and find. Now I have got a London North Eastern coach that has got the wrong bogies on it, so I could utilise them, but I don't know what ones it's got on it. I'm pretty damn sure I ain't going to have Mark II D. I think these are B4 for the anoraks, the experts, the B4 bogie. And I found one for 99p on eBay with no wheels, but he wants £5 to post it. He's sort of like got a flat rate postage. It's not Peter Spares. He's another one that is a bit of a Dick Turpin with his postage charge on eBay. I know they take 10%, but you'll have to put another 40% on top as well. So yeah, I need to try and find them. Now there are a couple of people who obviously break parts up, but they ask as much for a pair of bogies as you can buy a ropey one of these, as long as you remember to look for the right parts, unlike me. So yeah, we've gained a couple more, but they're not perfect. So we need to keep an eye out at the toy and train fairs and Hattons or whatever and see if they've got a rough old doggy one. I think these are the same tooling as the Airfix, bar the bogie mounts are different. And it's the same as the Hornby one, because it's got the Hornby bogies on it anyway. So yeah, it's just a case of finding some B4 bogies that aren't the price of a coach. But other than that, I think they've painted in this black. I could smell the paint on them still when you open the wrapper ring up, but I'm not too bothered about the sort of little nicks and nongs, because the time you give it a light dusting or weathering, then you know it's all part of the wear and tear they received when they're starting to look a bit tired at the end of their lifespan before they got sold off or privatised and all cleaned up and repainted. So yeah, other than the incorrect bogies and not being the finest examples, but being they're the Dapol ones, which means they're slightly newer than the Airfix, but no other great changes, other than obviously the Airfix ones weren't in the city livery. They're quite a bit more money, £29 a piece. I managed to get these two for 28, which I wouldn't have paid that much had I have noticed the bloody bogies were wrong. But I think that's it for this first one of 2023, or second one. I think it'll be the second one time we're uploading. So the second one of 2023. Well, little turn of development. So as an addendum to the video end, I looked again for replacement bogies. Bit of a fruitless task. As I said earlier, they never appear at a price worth buying to get a coach operational again. The only chance is to sort of come by a knackered one that hopefully still got the wheel sets in, which is usually not the case, because they're usually the only scrangeable, salvageable, saleable bit that you're left with. Fortunately, so I have an old couple of Airfix ones that I managed to pick up, you know, with a couple of good ones in a duff one. The underside of this is identical to the earlier Airfix one. Exactly. It is literally pop out, pop in. The only difference is the hole here is larger than the Airfix ones with their retaining pins. Now, whether this started life correctly, because that hole doesn't look perfectly central, so I don't know whether they drilled these out to facilitate putting Hornby bogies in them just to sell them, and hoping for the best, because the guy's name is a bit of a synonymous old character with a dubious, dodgy antiques dealer TV series from years gone past. A bit like the people that call themselves Del Boy and then wonder why they've got a bit of a shady reputation. So I took the Gresley bogies off, found a Gresley coach that I think had got Commonwealth bogies on them, so I could rob Peter for Paul. When I offered them up, they fitted. I put them on the track, but there was a problem. The Hornby couplings are so, as you can see, underslung. You can't physically connect two coaches together, and even if you did, the coach ends would be so tight together you'd never get it round any bend. So they were pretty much dead in the water. They were used to man or beast. So I thought, I'll sod it, I'll send them back. Not as described, can't use them for intended purposes. So I just opened a thing, he'd got returns automatically accepted, so you know, it was a straight away link to print a postal label off or go to the post office and send them back. So I thought, right, I'll do that today. So about 1:30 in the morning I'm on Alan's live cast, and I'd opened the dispute, got the email, was going to sort it out, and the guy sent me a full refund. So obviously I think he knew, I'm pretty sure I saw these like that, and I think whether that was his ad or he bought them or just coincidence. Two of these minus the bogies, someone's bought them, chucked bogies on them and thought it'd make a few quid quick. And it hasn't worked out that way, because you need to be able to use them. So I've now, at least I've got my money back, but I am now obviously got two coaches that aren't much use. I might be able to salvage one, but without finding another Airfix donor coach, they won't be doing a lot on the track. But at least I got my money back. Oh well.